What is going on, IG? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to episode 2 of Live with Jina, Becoming a Better You. This week, we are excited to be back with you. Those of you that joined us last week for episode 1, thanks for tuning in. I see you guys flooding in here now. Claudia, hello, greetings. Welcome everybody to episode 2 of Live with Jina. Our host is going to be joining us. Tara Lee, hello there. Nate the Gentleman, greetings. Tasha, greetings. Gina,
Hey,
how are you today? Happy Wednesday.
I am excited.
Nice. I feel it. Let me get situated here. I'm good.
How are you doing?
I'm fantastic for today. It was a very productive day here. We had a couple of different projects in production. Obviously, of course, we had to do everything we had to do to get ready for today's show. And now we're here with you.
Yes.
Welcome everybody who's tuning in.
Yes, I see everybody tuning in, which is awesome.
Yeah, I see you guys tuning in now. Make sure you all share this live with anyone. This is Live with Jina, Becoming a Better You. Weekly points to help you prevail in your everyday life. And our goal with this show is to help you become better every single week. And if you joined us last week for episode 1, you know that this month our theme is how to get closer to your goal and vision, right? So last week in episode 1, we spoke about obviously, first and foremost, developing a vision, because obviously if you're going to set out on a journey, you need to know what that end point is. And we had a lot of great talking points. We had a lot of great interaction. There were so many people engaged in the comments, and I actually want to encourage you all now, like I said, to share this live with anyone you think can benefit from this week's topic. But more importantly, if you have questions, don't be afraid to add and submit those questions. You're going to see next to the comment, there's a little question mark box. You can submit your questions there. And as we go through the conversation, we'll answer those questions for you. So you ready to get started, Gina?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm sweating. I'm just like, oh, let's go.
Now you're glowing. That's what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So all right, so let's start by doing this. So those who are new to this week's topic, why don't you just start by introducing yourself, Gina, and tell everyone who you are.
Of course. So welcome everybody that's joining. We see a whole bunch of people joining today. Last week was the first live, and we were talking about vision. So my name is Jina Arce-Cotto, and I am the author of Prevail, The Process of Overcoming. And then I branched out to my podcast called The Prevail Point. Now we're doing these lives with Gina's Becoming a Better You, and really making people understand that they need to be their authentic self, and they need to figure out what they are really supposed to be doing. And they don't teach that in high school. They don't teach that in college. And we spoke about this last week. You kind of go to college and your counselor tells you, what do you want to do? And you're looking at, okay, what's the highest pay raise? That's what I'm going to do. And you don't really know what you're going to do. And last week we spoke about vision, right? A man without vision will perish. And we harped on that. And it was really amazing. The questions that we got were unbelievable. But today we're going to dig into, once you know your vision, and you'll kind of have a glimpse of what it is that you're supposed to do in life. How do you work the plan, and how do you plan the work? Indeed. So that's key, Kevin. That's key, Kevin. I think that there are people out there that have a vision. There are people out there that want to do something great with their lives, whatever that might be. There are people out there that say, you know what, I'm not doing the mundane 9 to 5. I got to really find my gift. I got to find what I'm good at. I got to really grow it to the point where it's making me money, or I have to grow in that arena. And a lot of people just don't know, Kevin. They don't know, what do I need to do to kind of get there? So today, I hope you have a pen and paper. And we are working on doing a booklet where we could kind of send it out to the people that it's free. We're going to send it out to the people after this workshop is over. And we're going to tell you exactly what we're talking about and how you could become the better version of yourself. is really what we're looking at right now.
100%.
All right.
For
So
sure.
we're excited. We're excited because
Right.
I feel that a lot of people are tuning in and saying, hey, I'm doing something good, but I want to do something great.
Indeed.
Right?
100%.
A lot of people have a
Right.
good life, but how do we turn that good life into a great life? Right? And a lot of times we focus on the good and we forget about the great. And the
Mm-hmm.
God I serve, right? I'm a spiritual person. I know there's probably some people here that are not, but my belief is God. My belief is my spirituality, my God. He created us for greatness. So are you being great is the question, right? In whatever it is that you're doing. So one of the things that we wanted to share was how to work smart and not kind of spin around in a circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have for me, Kevin?
So
What do
for
you want
sure,
me to
not.
share?
Now, honestly, I think that that's a great place to start because obviously, I've always heard, and obviously we know from studying so many different books, reading books, obviously just associating with people that we associate with, we know that success is a planned event and that you just don't accidentally become
Yep.
successful or you just don't stumble into it. There's
Yep.
steps that are ordered, right? And so it's like it reminds me of a quote that I always heard is that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that's
Yep.
really what this week's focus is. So let's just dive right into it here. So let's start off by talking first and foremost, why do you think it is important to plan?
So things don't just happen, they happen justly. That's a good one to write.
Mm, I
Things
like that.
don't
I'm gonna
just
have to write
happen.
that down.
All right, all right. Things don't just happen, they happen justly. What does that mean? That means that you need to have a plan at where you're going. Sometimes we see successful people and we see the end result. We don't see the grind and the hustle behind what they're doing in order to get to the level that they're in. We think, oh, they just got a good shot, or they just knew the right people, and when you study millionaires, 90 to 95, and don't quote me on that statistic, 90 to 95% are self-made. They figured out a way to master their gift and to plan accordingly so that they could shine in their gift. They could shine in the grace and favor that God has given them. So the first thing is, what's the importance of planning? We spoke about it last week. You cannot get in your car and not have a destination of where you're going. If you're in your car and you don't know where you're going, you're going to go around in circles. So what planning does is that it gives you an endpoint. It gives you a destination. And when I say plan, it could mean a daily plan. It could mean a weekly plan. It could mean a yearly, a 5-year goal plan, But for some people, it's just, what are you going to do today to become better? So that's the main thing for me. What are the key pieces that make up a sound plan? So we're going to talk about that, Kevin. You
No,
like that?
for sure, you're right. And something that I want to touch on what you just said, right? You said approximately 95% of millionaires are self-made. It's interesting. One of the things I always heard is that we're all actually self-made. It's really only the successful people that would actually admit that, right? Because even on the flip side of that, right,
That's
is
deep. That's deep right there. That's
no,
right.
and it's true because you got to think about it. One of the things I always heard is that your destination is going to be determined by your daily habits and the things you do on a daily, right? And so we all have the ability to control somewhat of the outcome based on the effort that we put in, right? So just off of that alone, we all have the ability to make and design ourselves.
Right.
Even if you're not as successful as a millionaire, you equally 100% make and define and create yourself. So don't let that.
Success. Yeah, go
Mm-hmm.
ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll say, yeah, and to many of those people out there, just don't fall into that trap of thinking that only successful people make themselves. We all make ourselves, and we all have the ability to do that. Go ahead, Gina, continue.
So making a plan is taking responsibility of what you're doing daily. You
100%.
have to take responsibility. It's kind of like piggybacking on what you're saying. You're saying that self-made millionaires made themselves self-made millionaires. But if you're a self-made mediocre person, guess what? You self-made that mediocre person, right? And that's hard sometimes to wake up and say, oh my God, I am where I am because of the decisions that I have made to get me where I'm at. So if that's the case, then make different decisions and you'll be in a different place.
For sure. For sure.
Right? So
100%.
I wanted to talk about you know, working smart, creating an action plan. And I love this because, you know, we're going to go through the acronyms of SMART, and it's going to be amazing. But at the end of the day, you got to have a want to change where you are at. And when you have the mentality that, you know what, it is what it is. I am where I'm at, but you know what, I have the ability tomorrow to make something different, and to wait for that to develop so that you can master your gift, whatever that is.
Yes.
But make your plan, you know, make sure your goals are smart. So S, S stands for specific. Be specific. Be specific in what you want. You know, I went to do my hair today. I know a lot of you guys think I do my own hair, but I don't. I do my own makeup. I'm still working on the hair. I'm not, you know.
I'll do my own one. Hopefully it came out good today.
Yeah. You did good. You did good. No, but all jokes aside, I was talking to the person that does my hair, and I was asking her, you know, what are your goals? Do you eventually want to own your own salon? And most beauticians or barbers, at the end of the day, they want to be owners, but there are some people that don't want to be, and that's okay too.
Right.
But she wanted to own. So I told her, so what are you doing? And she looked at me. She was young girl. She's beautiful. She just started, and I kind of threw her with a bomb, you know? And she was like, I don't know. I said, well, have you looked into the person that owns this beauty salon? Have you asked him what did he do to get where he's at? And she was like, I never thought of that. You know, so being specific is so important, because whatever you want to do, there's going to be a wrong path and a right path. Usually the right path is finding people that are doing what you want to do and asking them, okay, what were the small goals? What did you do? Oh, I went to school for business. I took a course. I started saving money when I was living with my parents. You know, little things like that. I started writing a dream board, you know, drawing a dream board. I started realizing, okay, well, this is what I want to do. What are the products? Let me talk to my clients. Are they going to follow me? How could I get better in what I'm doing? So how specific are you being with the vision God has given you? And if you don't believe in God, how specific are you being with whatever dream or goals you have to become a better you? That sounds good?
Correct. Yeah, 100%. You have to know exactly what it is you want to accomplish in order to actually start beginning to take the action steps. I agree. Okay, so now we're talking about, we're specific. We already clearly set a goal. You know, when I'm setting my goals or I'm starting to take these action steps, how far should I be thinking? Should I be thinking way out? You know, should I be thinking shorter? Let's talk about actually measuring the action steps.
Well, that's perfect, Kevin, because the next one is M for measuring. Your goals have to be measurable. I think sometimes, and I'm guilty of this. Oh Lord, my trainer is writing right here. Okay, Tasha, I want to be like 40 pounds less. I'm going to do this in a week. That's not measurable. You know, what are you doing today so that in 6 months you could be 40 pounds lighter? So what are your daily habits that are going to get you to that goal? And study. What's the regular weight that normally people should lose? 2 pounds a week, they say, right? The trainers say 2 pounds a week. They say, you know, if you're losing 10 pounds, 20 pounds, that's too much. You're going to get sick. That's not measurable. So measurable being, how could you achieve what you want? So for somebody that's never had a business before, how about study a little bit about business? How about study what it takes to get there? How about getting together with people that you want to be like? You know, and sometimes we don't have that ability. In other words, you know, I want to be the best motivational speaker in the world. I might not have access to E.T. or John Maxwell or, you know, all the rest of them. But right now we have access to a phone. And that phone could teach you everything that you want to the point where you can understand what it takes for you to achieve that goal. So I personally recommend that is measurable. Why? because people like to feel good about what they're doing. And if you're gonna put a measure and never be able to get to it, 9 out of 10 times you're not gonna do it.
Right.
But if you make a measure, if you do a goal like this week, I'm gonna weight myself, and I'm gonna lose 2 pounds. And let me speak to my trainer. This is how I need to eat. This is how I need to work out, and this is what I need to do to get to that goal, right? And then you make a bigger goal. Does it make sense in 6 months that I've lost 40 pounds? Yeah, Miss Janari, it makes sense. But to do it in a week, so measuring is so key. We were made to be praised and appreciated, okay? People want to be praised, appreciated, or recognized before they want to make money.
Interesting.
You know that?
Nah, that's 100%. And you're right. And I think many of us, you know, we don't really set our goals or action steps realistically. And then we find ourselves, you know, maybe not praising ourselves because we're not getting the results fast enough. You know, one of the things I always heard when it comes to success is inch by inch, everything's a cinch.
Ooh.
Yard by yard, it gets hard, right? Like you said, okay, first things first, we want to take a look at our goal, right? Let's say whether, you know, it is to lose that 40 pounds. Okay, like you said, it is unrealistic to lose 40 pounds in 5 days or 7 days.
I want to. I'm
right.
The first one
and
in
we
that
all
program.
want to. I mean,
but reality is,
me too. But what you gotta do is you gotta chip away at it, right? Like, there's a book that I read. I'm pretty sure you read this book too. It's called The Slight Edge.
Oh yes.
And really, what it's talking about is kind of like that law of compound interest and building momentum. That if you do a little bit every single day, that, you know, a couple days down the road, whether it's 15 days down the road, 20 days down the road, you look up and you actually you start to see the progress be made. So I love that. I'm glad that you shared that. You talked about actually measuring, you know, your steps and planning things to do on a daily, because it's just like, you know, that old, I think it's like an old ancient proverb that says, like, you know, a journey of 1,000 steps begin with the first step. So I'm glad that you shared that we have to measure and take little action steps that over time they create big change. All right, that's great.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kevin, you know what? A good book, and it kind of goes with The Slight Edge, is the compound effect, which is what that is you doing little things over and over again, the right habits, the right following, that eventually it's going to end up in the big result. So that's huge. That's huge. That's huge.
All right, that's great. Actually, so what I want to do is, you know, I want to take this time real quick to actually, why don't you share a story with us? Maybe there's a time in your life that, you know, having a sound and solid plan actually helped you.
So listen to this. I always have to go back to the book, because I think what I did in such a short amount of time was incredible. And I don't think I just, like I said before, I put those blinders on, and it was just kind of like, I'm in obedience to God. He wants me to write this book. I can't think. If I think, it's not going to get done. But I remember that I had a deadline to finish the English book. Now, you got to remember, I mean, God spoke to me July of August of last year. And by January of 2020, the book was out, published, all over, books were sold. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm actually astonished and looking into what I did so that could happen, because I've always been goal-oriented, always. I started my first business when I was 19 years old, and everybody thought I was crazy. And they're like, Gina, what are you doing? I'm going to a meeting, you know, I'm educating myself in business. And I was still in college, and I was still doing what I had to do, and ended up leaving my job to go full-time in business. And everybody was freaking out. My parents, they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, you know, like, I found my niche. I found that serving people, we could become free. That's what I found. So I was like, wow. So I had a deadline, and that's the first point. I had a deadline, right? So my deadline was in October. I spoke to the publisher, now Arco Press, that's under my name, thank God. I spoke to them, and they said, you have till October to do it. Right. And I was just up. I mean, remember, I have a job. I'm an executive for Canon. I have 2 beautiful daughters. I have a husband who I have to attend to. Hallelujah. Thank you that he's so supportive. You know, I have my church. I have my family. And what I did was that I made a plan that I was gonna finish. I think you know, this is actually I have the book here. I have I'm sorry. I just this is very good information. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I have 16 chapters in this book.
Mhm.
And what I did was I said, I'm going to make sure that in 16 days, I have this done. And I already had a lot of the stuff written already, but it needed to be laid out. I needed to speak to a ghostwriter. I needed to speak to the editors. I needed to speak to publishing companies. You know, I had a team of people, and I thank God for that. And we'll talk about that next week, the importance of having a team. But I realized that because I made those goals, I would not go to sleep until it was done.
Mhm. Mhm.
So there were times that it was sleepless nights. Hello.
Right.
Okay. I needed to wait till my daughters went, my little one went to sleep. The other one was in college. I needed to wait till you know, I took care of things in the house, or my husband, or you know, he was sleeping, and I was like, okay, I have this 2-3 hours. Maybe I went to sleep a few times at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
But I knew that without a shadow of a doubt, by October, my version of the book was going to be complete. I remember doing a video that maybe one day, because I look crazy, I did a video, Kevin, of exactly when it was over. And I was pale and I was crying and I was like,
Right.
oh my God, it is finished. Right? Kind of like what Jesus said, it is
It's
finished.
finished. Yep.
And I made a video and I couldn't post it. That it was crazy. Like, wow, it was crazy. I should have like done a filter or something on Snapchat or something like that. But you could see the bags under my eyes. You could see me like, oh my God, I'm done. And it was that achievable goal that I was like, I did it.
Right.
But it took time, effort, restless nights. It took a focus of that's all I thought about.
Mhm.
I was focused. I woke up in the morning till at night. I was thinking, this is what I need to do. I need to finish it. I need to finish it. And I kept on thinking, my editor's gonna kill me. My editor's gonna
Yes.
kill me. Because he was
Yeah.
calling me. He's like, Gina, you good? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm good. And he will call me, you know, like it's getting near. So
Yes.
number one, I had somebody, I had accountability,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Right.
Somebody, I was accountable to somebody. I had written down, this is what I'm going to do in 16 days. I'm going to finish it. I had spoke to another editor, which is my niece, Giada. And she did an amazing job. And I was reaching out to her. Listen, I have a chapter done. I have this done. Help me with this. Help me with that. I gave her deadlines too. I had some other editors. I had 3 editors, just doing what I had to do. And I want to encourage everybody that the end result looks beautiful, but the beginning to the middle unto the end is a hustle, is a
100%.
grind. And
100%.
you gotta be ready for that. You gotta stop complaining and understand that that's part of the process. Does that
100%.
make sense, Kevin?
It makes 1,000%, sense to me, because and actually, and what I'm taking away from what you share with us with that story. Thanks for sharing that story. Is the importance of having a plan. And I actually see somebody wrote that in the comments here. I think that they said the plan keeps you focused.
Yes.
Right. The plan dictates what you're gonna do on the daily.
Yes.
Right. Like you should never have to wake up and say, what am I doing today? You know that, okay, today I got to get a chapter done because I set a goal that I was going to do a chapter a day, right? 16 days, that's 1 chapter a day. Going back to what we said a couple moments ago, is breaking your goals and your plan down into bite-sized pieces. Things that you could do on a daily basis that doesn't make it too overwhelming, right? It's hard to write 16 chapters in one day, but you can write 1 chapter a day for 16 days.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? A lot of the chapters were already written. I don't want you to think I wrote the book in 16 days, because I did.
Yeah, for sure.
It took about 4 to 5 months, which is still crazy. Some people take years to write a book.
No,
but it was a grind. It was a FaceTime. It was Zooming. It was, I need to talk to somebody else. I need to do this research. I need to make sure. On top of all that, I'm sorry, Kevin, to interrupt you, but on top of all that, if you understood the emotional drainage that I went through that book, because if you haven't read the book, you need to get it. You could get it wherever books are sold. Prevail, the process of overcoming. I'm talking about some secrets, some hidden secrets of my family. So I'm like, I'm gonna be disowned. People now, I mean, it's crazy because all I do is defend my family, but now God is telling me to write something that is against what I want to do, but for the benefit of millions of people that are gonna read it.
Saying.
Honestly.
No, for
And
sure.
so I had to take my feelings out of it. Although I was still feeling and crying and devastated with the stories and the abuse that went on, I still stay focused on getting it done.
Indeed, and 100%. So yes, no, thank you for sharing that. So to recap, the last question is, we asked Gina to share a story where actually having a plan really helped. So right now I want to take a moment to encourage everyone. First of all, welcome everyone who joined us. You are now tuned into episode 2 of Live with Gina, Becoming a Better You. And this month in this live workshop series, we're going to be talking about how to actually get closer to your goals and your vision. And this week we're talking about planning. Plan your work, work your plan. So I want to encourage anyone, if you have any questions out there about planning, just feel free to put them. There's a little question and answer feature that's to the right of the comments. If you hit that little box with the question mark, submit your questions, and we're gonna get to those. All right, so let's dive back in here. All right, and of course I gotta mention, share this live with anyone you think can benefit from this. Share the live, because that's what it's for.
Yes.
It's for you, and it's to spread the knowledge so we can all become a better
Oh,
version
yeah.
of ourselves and prevail every day. All right, Gina, we firing up here. Now we're in the second half of this week's episode. Let's get into it. So, okay, so that was great. Let's keep with this. I like stories because I feel like stories and parables are the best way to actually teach real principles.
Yes.
So let's talk about the opposite of that, right? Like,
Okay.
right, you spoke about just now how having a plan helped you, right? Also, I see some questions coming in. Folks, put the questions in the little question mark box. Put them in there because what's going to happen, we got a nice little feature at the end we're going to use. All right, so now let's talk about the flip side of that. Tell us a story about a time when you didn't have a plan and how that really bit you in the rear end.
Okay, so listen to this. Oh my God, I'm telling on myself. But this is all about being transparent. Okay, so quarantine, and we're still in quarantine in a lot of places. We're going back to work, but the reality is that we were the epicenter of what was going on with COVID-19 here in New York. For those that are listening, I'm in New York. And it's crazy. The epicenter kind of moved to Arizona and Florida, but it was here for many, many months. And it did me so well just because I was able to spend time with my husband. We rekindled our marriage. The girls, we prayed together. A lot of things that we really can't do. But along with that came a lot of eating. Hallelujah. Because somebody say amen.
Amen. I'm saying it because I was eating.
Okay. So right. I started keto like 25 times. I started. I was like, okay, babe, we're gonna do it today. What are we cooking? My husband's a chef, and we were cooking, and I mean, he's not, but he is. In this house, he is. The girls are like, Daddy, what are you cooking today?
Right.
And I really did. This is embarrassing, but I gained about 15 pounds. So now that I'm in the limelight, thank God I still look good, right? You better say I look good.
You're holding it together. I couldn't even tell it's 15 pounds. I don't know where it's at.
No, but I did. So, I was like, I gotta do something. Like, I should have. Haagen-Dazs. My husband's like, you were eating Chunky Monkey, and I'm like, thanks. Thank you. You were eating it with me. Hello. But yeah, so that, I woke up every day, and you know what's funny? I woke up every day, put on my gym, because I have a Peloton here, which is amazing. I'm not promoting Peloton, but it's amazing for us because the gyms are closed. Thank God we had one. And so I will get on the Peloton, I'm working on it, I will lose 500 pounds, but I would eat like 3,000 calories. Not 500 pounds, I'm sorry, 500 calories, but eat,
Yeah.
And so it became such an important situation where I had to call a friend of mine. Thank you, Claudia, for telling me I look beautiful. You I called a friend of mine and I said, that's it. I have to be accountable. But that was a time where, as much as I complained about my weight, and sometimes I still do, I didn't have a plan.
100%.
I didn't have a plan. That's the
100%.
reality. I didn't have a plan. I was eating chunky. I'm laughing about the chunky monkey because that's what my husband, oh, you're eating chunky monkey. I'm like, I haven't had chunky monkey in like 10 years.
Right,
but anyway,
right.
That's my husband. He's laughing over there. You eating chunky monkey.
Jay, you gotta look out, man. You gotta save me some chunky monkey, Jay. You gotta
next time. But that was something that really, really, I have to say, okay, ever since I've been with my trainer, I lost 6 pounds. I'm very happy for that. It's been 3 weeks. I'm trying to do it normally and not put myself on the scale too much because I'm an exaggerator and I'm like, just 2 pounds? Like I haven't eaten cake for 3 days, you know?
Right.
But I gotta stick to it. I gotta stick to it. So that's something that a lot of us do where, we want a better job, but we don't apply. Everybody's like, well, did you apply for management? Oh, I forgot. Well, did you get your broker's license? Because you're good. You could have a team. Are you educating yourself on how to, have a team under you? And you want it, right? You talk about it. Oh, I want to be this. I want to do this, and I could do better. But what are the steps that you're taking to get there? So just to reiterate, when I was talking about SMART, number 1 is being specific. Number 2 is having something measurable, right? Number 3 is having something achievable. You have to achieve. It has to be something that when I step on the scale and it's been 2 weeks, if I lost 2 pounds, I'm excited.
Right.
I'm not like beating myself up because that is something that's achievable. Okay. Something realistic is the R. That's huge. It's just kind of like what I was telling my friend today that did my hair. And I told her, do you want to own a salon? It would be unrealistic for her to say, I just got out of beauty school. I'm going to own something next month.
Yes. Correct.
Unless she has a father that's going to give her a salon, but something that you're going to do on your own, that's unrealistic. You got to learn people's hair. You got to build your black book, right? You got to build your clientele in order to have a following. So when you move, you have 50 or 100 clients already.
100%.
It takes steps.
For sure.
And the last thing is being timely. And I know we're going to go through more stuff, but I just want to stick to that pattern of being smart when you do your planning, because a lot of times, and I've been guilty of this, we plan so unrealistically, Kevin. We really do. We plan unrealistically.
100%. And honestly, I want to say thank you for, being candid and transparent because, many of us, it's tough. We only want to show the highlights and the good parts of it. But, we can also learn from, the negatives. And just to reiterate, so the question here was to share a story of a time that not having a plan really hurt. And for many of us, and I can definitely agree with that as well, like, the whole pandemic, it threw a lot of us for a loop. Anybody who had a plan, your plan went out the window. Right?
That's true.
And it also reminds me of that phrase that it's like, we make plans and God laughs at those plans.
Unless he was selling sanitizer.
Yes. If that was your plan, then you hit it this year. You were on the money. So, but many of us, like, we have plans to do things. Like, if you were an event planner, you said, this year I was going to throw in the biggest events I've ever had. Or, for even us as a media company, we have plans to grow, take on new clients, work on new projects.
Yeah.
And literally the world stopped.
Yeah.
And for many people, that was, Tasha, it's true, face mask. If you were thinking about face masks, you hit it big right now. So, and it's crazy. So for many people, it's like, when you don't have that plan, you start to find yourself wandering. Yeah. And it's not necessarily wandering because, you just veer off track. That's probably the best way that I could say it is, I'm glad you spoke about accountability because that's really what having a plan does. Your plan said, and it's, it's great to have other people that you're accountable to, but if you made a plan for yourself in your future, you have to stay accountable to yourself. So that's what the plan really helps you do. And if you don't have a plan, you see the opposite of that. You find yourself doing things, or
Yep.
having other people lead you. And not to say that this is negative or wrong, but having other people lead you a certain way that may not really be where you want to go. But if you don't have a vision and say, this is where I want to go, and action steps to get there, then anybody can come in and just take you off path.
That's right.
So that was great, Gina. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so let's get into it. The last two questions here before we start going over to our guests.
Perfect.
Our guest questions. So I want to remind everyone, if you have questions, please submit them here in the Q&A feature. That's the question mark box next to the comments.
Yes.
And we're going to get into that in our rapid fire session. All right, so last two questions. How do you stick to the plan? Right? Okay, so now that we've made this plan, what do you actually do? Or give us some tips on how do you stay focused and stick to this plan? Because, it's funny, you spoke about something earlier. You spoke about emotions, right? And you said how emotions, can impact our decision making.
It plays a big, yep.
Right, so let's talk about that here. Like, how do you say, okay, I got to block this out, or, this is a part of the plan, or this is not a part of the plan. How do we stay focused on the plan?
Kevin, it's simple. You gotta have a why. You gotta know why you're doing what you're doing. It can't just be random. I have my sister. She's studying to be a doctor. She's studying to be a doctor in like marriage counseling and all that good stuff. And it's amazing. She has a why. We unfortunately haven't had a lot of great marriages around us. And she was like, I'm gonna change that. She said, and I'm talking for her, but I know her. She's my best friend. It's something that, that we do. I'm gonna change that in the legacy of my family.
Right.
You gotta have a why that's gonna compel you to wake up in the morning. That regardless of what you feel, you see, my why for writing this book was that I was going to be in obedience to God no matter what was coming against me. No matter what was coming against me, I was going to stay focused and I was going to get the book done. Now, remember, I got the book done in Spanish, English. I did the audibles in English, not in Spanish, but I did the audibles in English. It was one of the most challenging things I've ever had to do. I think I read that book like 17,000 times. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but I read it so many times to get there. And if you read the audible, if you listen to the audible, let me know if you like it. It's my voice, but it was the why that made me get up every single morning to say, I'm gonna do this. If nothing else, if my daughter goes to college 4 years and nothing happens, she has a way out through being in my business, through whatever goes on with the little one. I want to change the legacy of my family. That's my why. Your why might be that you want to make everybody look beautiful. Your why might be that, you want to be a photographer. You want to do real estate. You want to see the families when they walk into their new home sparkle. That makes your day. That's your why. You got to figure out your why so that you can stay focused. A lot of people don't know their why. 100%. And sometimes when you don't know your why, you need to connect with somebody that does know their why.
For sure. Because
first, before you lead, you need to serve.
100%.
100%. And the biggest leaders are the biggest servers anyway. Right? Let's be real. The biggest leaders are the biggest servers. And sometimes people are not raised with goals and this and that. And, write them down, do a dream board. That's another thing. Right? Yep. I took a little picture of J-Lo. My trainer keeps on sending me pictures of J-Lo. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to eat the chunky monkey. You got to have it in front of you. You got to have it in front of you. What are the pictures that you have on your refrigerator?
For sure.
Do you have a dream board? We have a board in our bedroom. We have a board in the office. We actually got a new refrigerator that nothing could stick to it, unfortunately. So we got these magnets next to it. I'm like, babe, we got to figure out how we could put our stuff up there, like we used to have with the other refrigerator. But you have to have it in front of you. When you open your phone, what's the picture that's on it? Is it something that you want? Is it something achievable that you know you're going to become?
100%.
What is your why?
Right.
It's important, because if not, you're not going to get there.
I love that. And it's great because I think a lot of people, that's exactly what we spoke about in episode 1, is what is your vision? What do you want to accomplish first? Because that's what's going to keep you going. And I could tell you 100% that, I worked in the media production industry going on 11 plus years now. And just like there's been a ton of late nights, early mornings. And, and I've always heard this, that, sometimes that if you never feel like quitting, then your dream isn't big enough. Like it's not, it's not
that's
trying
amazing.
you enough.
Yes.
And when those moments hit you, like you're saying, you have to remember why you got started in the first place.
Yes.
And for me, one of the things that drives me is I really just want to impact the world with stories that inspire, educate, and entertain.
Amazing.
And the things like, that keep me going, like we're talking about sticking to the plan, is I go back to that vision. Just like you said, I have a vision board with all the things that I want to accomplish, right? Where if I want to, one day win an Oscar, one day I want to win an Emmy.
Come on.
Or one day I'm going to go and I'm probably going to win an MTV Video Music Award. Like all of these different things that I'm looking to accomplish, I put those on a board, and I put the future of Crown Media Group and what we want to accomplish. Because there's times when it's like, man, I feel like I don't care about doing this. You got to look at that board. That board keeps me going. Another thing that I can say that helps me personally stick to the plan is, I think about the other people that are involved. Because sometimes if it's just me I'm thinking of, I don't care. Because it's like, I could do it tomorrow. But if I associate it with somebody, like I realize, okay, you know what? Today I made a plan to do 5 videos. I know that if I don't stick to that plan, and if even one video is thrown off, it's going to affect everything else. So I remind myself, like, yo, I got to get to it, because if I don't finish this video, it's going to affect this person, this person, this person, this person. So I think, thinking about one, like you said, your vision, but also the people, because the people are part of your vision as well. So I want to say thank you for sharing that. I think that was great. If anybody else, I see a lot of people going in right now. If you have any ways that things that help keep you focused and stick to your plans, please share them in the comments, because that's how we all grow together. All right.
You know what I wanted to share, Kevin?
Yes.
We need to learn how to dream big. Like you said before, if your dream is not scaring people or is not scaring you, then it's not big enough. It doesn't cost anything to dream.
Right.
It doesn't cost anything to want more. You're not a sinner if you want better. Hello.
Right.
Okay. I mean, Jesus had 12 disciples. They all left their families. They followed him. You know what? All of his disciples were okay financially to leave their wives and follow Jesus. Jesus had a treasurer. Hello.
Yes, he did.
Stop thinking that you need to be poor or that you can't dream big to get where you want to be. It's okay to dream big. It's okay to I talk about it with my husband. I wanna get a cul-de-sac, and it's funny because Justin was saying, Ma, could you buy a house and then buy a little house next to me so that I don't leave you? I was like, that's been in the plans before you were born.
I like Justin.
Yeah, before you were born, we're gonna be in a cul-de-sac and we're gonna have the biggest houses in the neighborhood. Okay, so whoever marries my daughter, you're gonna be very blessed, but you're gonna have to pay a price.
You have to pay a price. You gotta be ready.
Okay, you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready. But that's key what you're saying, Kevin, because knowing your why, dreaming big, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with dreaming big and wanting more, as long as you do it for the right reasons.
For sure.
You're not doing to hurt anybody. You're not doing to do anything shysty or stuff like that. It's very important that you keep your focus, that your why is going to make somebody else better.
100%. So actually, before, I want to add one thing before we begin to wrap up, because we're in like the last 15 minutes of our show here. So I want to, because one thing is obviously, I work in media industry, so I'm very big on visuals. Okay. And I'm very big on the subconscious mind and, imagery and placing things that you can, because for those that know or may not know, your subconscious mind is literally always recording things.
Yes.
So every single image, whether if it flashes like this, your mind is taking that stuff in. So it's important, like what Jina is saying, is to surround yourself with the things that you want. Like if it is, and not to be materialistic, but if it is an estate, one day go get in your car and drive to the next wealthiest neighborhood and drive around and talk about what it's going to be like to one day own that or one day own this. If it is, a Lamborghini or a nice car, go to the dealership. you know, I know they don't let you test drive unless you're really ready to buy because you got to keep the mileage low. Trust me, I tried. But get around those things because you start to
Yeah.
create that feeling and that
Yes.
mindset of what you want to accomplish. And those
Yes.
things will help keep you focused when you feel like giving up. So, all right,
Listen.
let's keep it moving because, like I said, I'm seeing a ton of questions in here. Let's
Oh.
get to this is the favorite part. This is what we're here. We're here for you.
I love it. I love it. So
Let's
many people are
get.
joining. I keep on getting closer, you know, because I don't have my glasses, so I need to see people's
Yeah,
comments.
I'm
It's
not gonna lie too.
amazing.
I'm in here like who's right into okay. All right, so let's do it. So I'm gonna get to the first question
Okay.
here. Our
Okay.
first question comes from K Nicole. What is something you've placed on your vision board that has come true? I like that. That's a great one.
I'm gonna tell you something. I when I became about 26 years old, okay, I would see people driving around expensive cars, and I had a Honda Accord 2009 or a Honda Accord at the time. It was like 6 years old, and that was my first car. I put a picture up of a Lexus, like a SUV. Like I felt that I could never have an SUV. I would look around and see people like, what do they do in life to have an SUV? Like what was, and I remember the first time, probably like, I don't know, my husband will know better. He's very good with dates. About 8 years ago, I got an Acura, top of the line, TV inside. I mean, a $65,000 car. Okay.
Oh
Oh
Lord,
yes, you didn't know me. Okay.
I wasn't
Um,
there.
yeah. I actually downgrade a little bit because my husband wants a Range Rover, so I'm like, okay, I gotta downgrade a little bit so that we could get the bigger one. So I got that car, and it wasn't the Lexus, the SUV Lexus, but it was as expensive as the SUV Lexus. And I remember going through some pictures at the time. We actually had real pictures and albums, and I'm going through the pictures, and I see a picture on my bathroom in the towel of a SUV Lexus. And I started crying because it was probably like 10 years later that I was driving off, leather interior, sunroof, racks in the top, just the whole 9 yards. Yes. It was black, I think, with white beige interior, heated
Nice.
seats when it was a big deal back then to have a heated seat. Um, and I looked at that and I'm like, it is so important to take pictures and continue to look at them because something subconsciously happens in your mind that you won't stop thinking about it until you obtain it.
100%. And honestly, that's an amazing story. And actually, I'm going to share mine before we move to the next question. So one of mine was last year, so in 2018, I never forget this. And I keep going back to this, but the MTV Video Music Awards is
Okay.
it's one of my favorite events
I want to
ever.
go with you.
Now, of course, you can come. You're more than welcome. Next year, we're going to go. So in 2018, I never forget, it was actually a Radio City Music Hall. And I was driving through Times Square. I had to go to a shoot. I had to go meet a client for something. And I didn't realize, I'm like, yo, what is going on? Like, there's traffic everywhere. So, and the security guard's like, yo, it's MTV Music. I'm like, oh, okay. I forgot that was happening. And since a kid, I always, because music videos is something that I love. You know, that's actually what helped me get into this craft. And I never forget, like, I drove home that day and I actually watched it on TV. I never forget. I think Cardi had won like album of the year, and I thought that was so
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah,
Being
yeah, yeah,
somebody,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
being somebody from the Bronx, that you could do that. And I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
next year I will be at the MTV VMAs. I literally said that. Now, the reason why it's important to be specific about your goals is because that's all I said. Lo and behold, next year, by a friend, I was invited to be a guest
Woo!
at the MTV VMAs, but we were actually in the pit. So like when they were performing, like we could like touch them. And like,
Wow.
So I was like,
That's
oh, like, that's dope.
amazing.
That was on my vision board, and I spoke that into existence. But it's important to be specific because you're gonna get back what you put out, and that's why next year I'm gonna be there as a nominee that's gonna win an award. So that's why we're gonna speak that into existence. So thank you for sharing that, Gina. That was dope. All right, our next question. Let me see. Okay. Let's go here. This is a question from Jana. Why does going to our destiny always, for the most part, have to determine some kind of pain? This is a deep question. We getting deep here.
Okay. The reason it has to determine pain because pain stretches you. Pain takes you to a level that you will never go to unless you're there. The struggle stretches you to become more than what you are. Okay. Now, the Bible talks about having struggle. The Bible talks about getting to that place. You see, because naturally, we're very comfortable people. That's our human nature. God created us that way. He told Adam and Eve, go to the, go to the Garden of Eden, and you don't gotta do nothing else. Name the animals. I'ma feed you. You don't gotta work. You chilling. That's our human nature. Okay.
Right.
But then they sinned. And I'm getting I don't want to get to theology or whatever, because some people don't believe that. But this is my belief.
Right.
And then when they sinned, they said, well, I didn't die. I said, well, you're not going to die right away. You're going to deteriorate with all the work you got to do so that you eat. And that's what happened. They had to get out of their comfort zone so that now they had to feed themselves. And our human nature is to be comfortable. It is painful to be uncomfortable because that is not our human nature. But being uncomfortable is where you find success, is where you grow, is where you start confessing the reality of who you are, is where you start understanding that God created you for greatness, is when you start understanding, wait a minute, I could do more. I thought I couldn't do that, but look at what I went through and I achieved it. That would have never happened if you didn't go through the struggle. That would have never happened if you didn't go through the pain. So God uses the struggle. He uses the pain so that you could get off your butt and do something, because pain is what makes us change. That's deep. You better write that down.
I loved it. Honestly, I couldn't even write it down, but just all right, because we're going to post this live. So y'all could go back and y'all could take in all the gems, go back with your notepad. And more importantly, you can just share this with people, because like I said, the whole purpose of this weekly workshop is so that we could prevail in our everyday lives. All right, so we are on the last, we have 6 minutes left here in our show. Okay. So we got one more question before we wrap up, and I need you to answer this in 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, and this one comes from Eve. What is your tip on multitasking?
Okay, it's quick. We could never really multitask. You just got to stop one task and start another. Okay? So multitasking, yes, I do a lot of things during the day, but I can't do it at the same time. So when you plan your day, your to-do list, okay, I did this, scratch it off, go to the next thing. I did this, scratch it off, go to the next thing. Real quick, another 30 seconds. Today, I woke up, I had to work. I had a meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning that I wasn't aware of. They just kind of threw me on so that I could train a part of the sales staff. After that, I had a hair appointment. I had a hair appointment for Jaylin. She had her hip hop class today. I had a doctor's appointment. I did all those things. Then I was here. I had to get pretty for you guys. Okay. I had a meeting before the meeting, right? I had to meet with the marketing team before that. I did all those things in one day. You could look at it as multitasking because it was, but I stopped one thing and started the other. That's the importance of planning. That's the importance of writing things down. That's the importance of understanding that you got to be uncomfortable to achieve your goals. So today, right, I haven't eaten anything because I've been fasting. That's another story. But I didn't put that as a priority because I'm not going to do it anyway until I'm done, right? So multitasking mentally, like you can't think about a pink elephant at the same time that you're counting. That's impossible.
Yes, 100%.
All right.
100%.
So, I could definitely understand that I had to stop the pink elephant. I count, then you could go back to the pink elephant.
No,
that's
for sure.
kind of multitasking, right?
Right. No, 100%. I'm glad you shared that because, I mean, if we were to get, biblical real quick, the book says man cannot serve two masters.
Wow.
And that's like the earthly translation is like, even, I could say this because I started a meditation practice last year. Okay. And literally it's, I think it's helped me understand my mind more and also understand how people never gonna fully develop a game plan, then now it's getting the right team and surrounding yourself with the right people to help you carry that plan out. So, of course, invite all your friends, share this live with people once we post it, and submit all your questions because we're going to get those questions answered. And before we go, well, I'm going to turn over to Gina. You can say anything you want to say before we wrap it up.
You know what? Thank you. Sorry. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Oh, you're good.
I'm so excited that we're able to touch so many people here. But just understand that thoughts are real things. Whatever you think about becomes a reality if you keep on thinking about it. You see, God said, let there be light, and there was light. So understand that what you think about and what you say eventually becomes a reality if you plan your work and you work your plan. Okay, yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited, Kevin. I mean, thank you so much for hosting and being here with me and making everything, you know, a reality. But just understand that we were created for greatness. And I want to keep on sharing that with you because not too many people understand that. You were not created to be mediocre. You were created to be great. You were not created to be good. You were created to be great. So stop it with the good and enter into great because you were created for greatness. And that's what I want to share with you guys today. All these series is about to get you focused so that you could become better. So at the same time, I could become better. Kevin could become better. Thoughts are real things. Make sure that what you're saying with your mouth is exactly what you want to get. Because eventually, whether it's positive or negative, you're going to get it. So be careful with what you say. And blessings to everybody, man. This was amazing.
100%. You are hung by the tongue.
Woo! That's a good book.
All right. So, folks, I do want to remind everyone who's been tuning in, please make sure you follow Gina and Prevail the Book on all social media platforms. That's how you can stay up to date with us and every week, you know, get the updates on the show. And also be on the lookout for a new goal planning worksheet that Gina will be putting out. So that way you can stay on task with your goals. That one's actually going to be coming out tomorrow. Yes. So make sure you follow her and the link will be in the bio. Once again, I'm your co-host, Kevin Talbot. This is Gina Arce-Cotto. I like that. And make sure also tell them about the podcast before we get out of here.
Oh, okay. Don't leave. So we started the Prevail the Book. Okay, so you can follow me at Prevail the Book. You can follow me at Jina Arce-Cotto. In Facebook is Jina Arce-Cotto or author-Jina Arce-Cotto. Very important for you to, you know, get all the updated information. But we started a podcast. It comes out every single Tuesday. It's called The Prevail Points. And I get more into depth. It's not that long, 10, 15 minutes of that. And I get really to the nitty gritty. It's very heartfelt, in my opinion. I'm extremely transparent. I talk about things that most people don't talk about. But all of it is prevailing. All of it is really getting to the point that we need to embrace what we go through to get to the next level in our lives. And I don't know how many levels there are, but the point is that as long as we're living, there's a dimension that we need to get to every day so that we could continue serving one another to become free. So we all want to be free, and free indeed, the Bible says. So I want you guys to follow. I want you guys to listen and comment. DM me. Let me know what you think about this live. Thank you so much, Kevin. And I am Crown Media. You guys have been extremely amazing. And I'm so excited. And it's going to keep on coming. Regardless of what goes on around you, you have to stay focused.
For sure. Thank you so much for your time, Gina. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. And we will see you next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here. Have a great night, everyone. See you soon.
Good night. Bye.